Of course, we are back here again on Spring Trends right here on WSTV, Western Spring Television, where we say it as it is. Here on Spring Trends, what we look at is big stories that make it to social media, and people are talking so much about trending stories. We try to pick and also pick what people are saying, the reactions of people on social media about the situation, who is trending, what's trending, why they are trending, where they are trending, and reactions. My name is Ohiolei. And of course, you know that Femi Ojo will always join me on the show. He's got no choice. He has to be here all the time. Welcome, Femi.
It's the audacity for me, the assurance. But I'll take it as a compliment.
Tomorrow, don't show up.
Okay, all right. Noted.
Tomorrow, don't show up. I dare you. Tomorrow, don't show up.
Thank you. Good to be with you, Nigerians.
All right, that was a joke. Before Femi would say she dared me, and in my family, they don't used to dare us in our family. So I have to live up to my name, to my family name, Femi. That was just
professionally. I'm not sure that will cut it.
All right, let's move on to our first story for today.
Right.
This particular report, we actually took it yesterday during our newspaper review program, where manufacturers are really crying hard, wailing as unsold goods pile up in their warehouses. People, like Ladiji said yesterday, people have to make a scale of preference as to what they need, what they really need, not what they want. So, because right now resources are limited, the money is limited, they have to go with what they cannot really do without. And manufacturers of some goods that have not been getting patronage from people are crying at this time, wailing that a lot of unsold goods are piling up in their warehouses. And when this happens, they won't be able to pay their workers. Some of these goods might actually get spoiled, especially those ones that are so fragile. But then reactions on social media at this time, our city boy says, you expect people to be buying at ridiculous price, make not eat in our products. I mean, our city boy thinks that the prices of goods at this time is on an all-time high. Femi spoke about the fact that goods are getting more expensive. The content in these packages are getting smaller. People are not getting value for what they are purchasing. So I'd rather keep my money and use it to do something, else. Abinola says they should use the goods by themselves. You don't expect to buy them at ridiculously inflated prices, with a nonsense put there at the back of our own take. Ikokwa Mayon says, have you taken into consideration what the factors of production could mean for the manufacturer? Your president said it would reduce your purchasing power, widening the tax net and slow down the economy. And the result is playing out now, but it's the manufacturer's fault. And Shay says, elasticity of demand. Many people have decided that Gary tastes much nicer than noodles or chicken. And I think I share in Shay's sentiment. Sometimes when you hear the prices of these goods, and even sometimes services, you're like, I can eat this other, I can do with this other option. There was someone that was, I think I was watching a skit of someone that was washing, and someone was asking that person, why are you washing? Why not give it to a dry cleaner? I said, dry cleaner to me 30,000. And I realized that my hands, they are good for washing. In fact, that is a good hand exercise. I can wash.
You're exercising the muscles.
And you know what that means for the dry cleaner? No business.
Lots of business. Actually, it's not easy to be a manufacturer, to be a business owner at this time.
Yeah.
In this area of ours, it's almost 2 days that we've not had power. So what do you expect that will be done? Then you go for the option. The option is always, or the alternative is always, more costly. Imagine running a diesel generator from yesterday till now, almost 48 hours now. It's as easy. And of course, the factors of production, everything will be put in together, and of course, it reflects in the price of that particular goods. And a consumer, that is not even having enough, will have to pay through the nose, pay 3 times. So I'm not sure the manufacturer's fault. That doesn't mean there are no middlemen who try to extort, who try to just make sure they do things that are untoward, to exploit that situation. Those ones are there. But then to run a business, it is not easy right now. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? Are you using the IBDC power or diesel or petrol or solar is costly. It's as simple as that. And then the consumer, you have to do like this to earn. For salary earners, there has not been a review for a long time. Yeah. It's that same review that we have been having these Ronaldo, Messi kind of dribbling, you know. And so it's not, who is gaining all of this? I'm not sure anybody is gaining, except maybe there are some middlemen who are doing the exploitation. But then the consumer and the manufacturers, we are hearing that goods are piling up. Who wants to buy? There's a particular brand of noodles, I won't say the name now, that used to sell a particular size, used to sell for 150, 180. Evelyn, it is now selling at 320. So if there is a family that will buy that particular noodle, they might possibly want to eat 4 or 5 of it. Yeah. That means they have to make do with 2 and then drink water.
Yeah.
And then for a particular manufacturer, I mean a shop owner, a store that has gotten that, that's how that particular good will be piling up till it expires.
Yeah.
Who gains? Nobody is gaining.
Everyone
the
is just
system is frustrating anybody.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure we should put our frustration on the manufacturer. If there are middlemen that are exploiting, let's deal with them. But then the people in charge should make the business environment friendly.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. Yeah. They are not selling. I know a particular store in this place that came with pump and pageantry less than 7 months ago. I was there like a month ago. Even me, I feel sorry for them.
Wow.
They can't power that particular store. I'm not talking about your regular store. The places you call supermarket. Yeah. I got there was no power. Their computation of your prices, they're doing it with biro and calculator. And then I told somebody, there will be losses in this calculation. Yeah. How many persons can you attend to with your brain, with your biro and your calculator? It's as simple. And imagine that goes on for like 2 months. There will be losses.
Yeah.
If there is a lady sales girl that you know, made a mistake, she will be relieved of her job. That one is out of it. Everybody's just losing.
Yeah.
The system is not even gaining. Let the leaders make the business environment friendly so that we can smile again.
Exactly. Exactly. Everyone is just trying to keep their head above the water at this particular time. Nobody wants to drown. Everyone is trying to float. And, you know, putting the blame on the part of the manufacturer, I don't think it's good enough, because they also look at the different factors of production and what they have to part with just to produce one item. You know, it's a whole lot. And they have to make their own gains, pay their own workers, buy diesel, and
stay afloat.
Do all manner of things.
And using that your analogy, it's just like everybody is trying to stay. You don't want to drown. So as you are raising your head, the water level is not dropping. That's the pressure. It's increasing. You are straining. We hope we won't choke.
We hope we won't choke. And using the words of Mr. President, let the poor breathe.
The poor
but this time, let all Nigerians breathe. I tell you, because it's not only the poor that is feeling the effects of this inflation.
Even as everybody, all poor finish. Depending on the level.
All right, move on to the next story this morning. NK Nnamdi Kanu is speaking again, and there was a video that was seen. I don't know if we have that video, would like to take it, or I read out what we have. He actually claimed that the country's constitution and international law is saying that he cannot be tried in Nigerian court, and the federal government is also an act of terrorism.
Prevention and Prohibition Act. That's what he said. Terrorism Prohibition and Prevention Act says that cannot be tried in Nigeria. That's the law of Nigeria. I can never be tried in any court of law. That's what the law says. Anybody standing in trial or coming to try me is a terrorist. That's what the law says. Section 2, subsection 3F of Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act. That's what it says. Any court to try me is committed under terrorism. Very clear. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then come to try that very person is not done anywhere in the world. So you're aware of that. So that is where there is all these ridiculous delays. That is what the Supreme Court said. I did not jump in. My home was invaded. They came to kill me and I survived. They came to Kenya to kidnap me, brought me back to this country and seeking to try me, which the law says cannot happen. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then hope to stand on that illegality to conduct a trial that is not done anywhere in the world. I have it in my case. Nobody had, there's no exception. No exception whatsoever. That's what the law says. Section 12 of the Constitution, what does it say? Any treaty ratified by Nigeria becomes law. It's law. You cannot change it. It doesn't matter what they do. All these shenanigans is just terrorism prohibition and prevention.
All right, so let's see reactions that Nnamdi Kanu does in quoting the section of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act, which he claims labels anyone attempting to try him as a terrorist. Reactions. Adeleke says MNK Mazi Nnamdi Kanu used his mouth to send himself to detention, claiming what he didn't do and cannot do. Rather than keep his mouth shut, he's still busy trying to send himself to jail. He go take for cell. That is what Adeleke is saying. Saying, Mazi, just please not speak and let's see where that actually gets you. Biliamu Muhammad Dambala says, simple interpretation of this is that, as he used to say Nigeria is a terrorist state, I still blame the official DSS Nigeria for feeding this man to even get the gut of addressing the press and calling Nigeria a terrorist state. But of course, he has that right for that. And Amoya Tisha says, everyone might not have agreed with Kanu, but it's very obvious that the federal government is only trying to incarcerate him unlawful for asking for a legitimate right to self-determination. After filing some fictitious charges like terrorism against him, the court acquitted and discharged him of all charges. Now, instead of obeying the court order, Buhari keeps him unlawful for the next administration of President Tinubu to continue illegally detaining him. They do not want to release him, nor do they wish to grant him bail, and tomorrow they'll tell us that there is rule of law in Nigeria. Injustice for one is injustice to all. And Ike Okoro says it is this type of outburst that is keeping him there. All this demagoguery isn't going to get him anywhere. Someone needs to tell him to calm down. It will do more outside than inside there. What do you think? Nigerians are saying, Mazi, you know, you just have to keep cool and let your lawyers do the job. Then you release an outburst upon outburst, and people really do not. The government, this keeps the government on their toes to just want to.
I think to every action, most of the times there are reactions.
Yeah.
Sometimes not commensurate. We have to put that there. But I think this Nnamdi Kanu case is one case that has dragged on. Is that something both sides are not doing well? You know, the prosecutors and Nnamdi Kanu side himself. Sometimes we hear an adjustment in the charges. Sometimes new charges are brought. Well, if it follows the law, fine. But if it's just sensation and undue incarceration, and I think that's what many Nigerians are speaking with.
Yeah.
Let this case go through. If it's to be punished according to the law, do that. If you have granted him bail, do that. And there have been one or two situations in which he has been given bail, but he wasn't allowed to go as well. But then, just like you said, I think his lawyers too should tell him to tone down in a kind of way, because you can't be referring to a country as a terrorist state and then you still expect them to see kindly to you. Although I admit that the law doesn't play to opinions and views and spoken words of the mouth, but if there is a way to make this thing go through, I think is gaining in a kind of way. Yeah, he has made, don't let me even speak on the matter because it will be sub judice, but then the words of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the past, if we are to recall it, if videos is anything or are anything to go by, you know he has said some things that are very bad in the past. But then he has come out to say, like 1 or 2 months ago, to say, release me. Nobody will victimize the Southeast again. He even called them who them be, you know, he used a particular, who are they? Who born them? You know, once he's released, but then I think that trust is not there. There have been times in which political solutions have been suggested. Some leaders of the Southeast went to the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, to say, can we please arrange something? But that didn't work at the end of the day. And now he's still there in detention. You know, he left the country. He said people wanted to kill him. Soldiers, that's why he left. And it was brought back. He said it's abduction. But then the wheel of prosecution, the wheel of law should please move fastly in this case. Let whatever it needs to get done by, whatever needs to be done to him, let that be done so that people will not think the government is just incarcerating or just want to put this guy behind bars perpetually by coming with these, you know, charges that sometimes look frivolous.
All right, away from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we move on to our next and final story this morning. Do you remember this great handsome guy on the screen talk about MDT Amiyu? There was a time that Nigerians actually came for his neck. He granted an interview to BBC at the time, and you know, a lot of people thought he was a snitch. Why would you go ahead to the BBC and talk to the people about why you give them updates?
Content creator.
Why did they give them updates? That was the issue then. Like, why would you give them updates? Why did you have to grant interview to the BBC and tell the UK government that a lot of Nigerians coming into the UK using the study route isn't actually coming in to study, but they are coming in for Japa. They are just leaving the mess in the country and coming into their own country to have a better living. And I'm sure lots of Nigerians came for his neck now. Now, there is an update about him that he has actually been deported from the United Kingdom. And I'm going to take reactions at this very time. Red Devils Booker says the most unfortunate Nigerian diaspora story ever told. This is what you get for talking too much. And Mobina says, welcome back home, no place like home. And Sibe says, welcome back, come buy land for Abuja if you still get pounds. And Engineer Shaibu says, now he's back tonight. Hey, yeah, I mean, you know that, hey, yeah, when they do that, hey, yeah, for you, especially when you are crying, the tears will now start flowing. Hey, yeah.
They put
He says now he's back to Nigeria with the same people he said we're using abroad studies as jackpot excuse this life. And, you know, it seems Nigerians are having the last laugh, the final laugh.
Big laugh.
But the report is that he was deported on the issue of fraud, that he made use of 160,000 pounds that was given to him to some other thing. I mean, the issue is not yet clear, but we hear that he has been deported to Nigeria.
Amiyu.
The way you call it, Amiyu.
T-boy.
But he didn't do a bad thing granting that interview. I mean, that actually elicited a lot of controversy at the time where people are saying that he spoke the truth. Why Nigerians?
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
I think that was what happened. What he said, it wasn't lying. Many japa half of it, 80% of it is for a want of a better, greener pasture.
But people said he shouldn't have snitched on his brothers.
That's what I'm saying. That's where he lacked the emotional intelligence. Was he even sure that he was snitching at that time? Or somebody who was, he's a content creator now. Somebody who was just wanted to sound like a guy with knowledge, and then
big BBC came
BBC came for him. Yeah. He said that, there was that time when that thing was hot. That said they have been calling him for some time. And then maybe he saw the bigger guys coming for me and I'm creating content. Let me be emotional intelligence. Yeah. That was what we're lacking, to know that this thing might have a repercussion. He wasn't lying. He didn't lie. Let's put it there. But then you said it and the backlash, he wouldn't have expected that as well. But now that he's back in the country, are we sure that he's back? This guy should run for his life. I'm telling you, there are many persons who want to lay their hands on him for what he did. I'm saying unduly. Nobody should attack anybody. I'm not proposing that. But if social media, space is anything to go by, with what was said at that time, many Nigerians won't take lightly. They won't take kindly, rather, at him. Many persons, even if anybody, some persons will see him today, because there are some review according to travel plans. At that time some things had to be put in place, and then it became more difficult, and many persons will believe it was the fault of Amiyu, even if the Home Office have their own policies as well. And are we even sure the Home Office don't have their information? Is it Amiyu that updated them? But that this thing about emotional intelligence, what to say, you might be saying the truth, but how do you say it?
When?
Where are you saying it? When are you saying it? That doesn't mean you must be diplomatic about it, but then you must know there is repercussion. And now that it's back, many Nigerians will say, you are back to the rest of us? Yeah. Really? What happened to your content creation and the rest of it? But then we are all humans at the end of the day. The Home Office, those guys have their information on everybody, but somebody put that up in the public space.
Someone has to be the scapegoat.
And Thank you. He
Someone
became
has
the
to be
table. Now that you are back in the country for some things that we are not yet clear about, but then it's a lesson for us that even when you have so much things to say and it's the truth, read the room.
Read the room. Read the room. I mean, that's just it. That was what was also on my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, before you put out an information there, read the room and know whether it is the appropriate time, appropriate place to actually say those things. This is where we actually draw the curtains on this show for today. Spring Trends and Western Spring Television. We hope you had a great time. We did. We'll come back tomorrow for the midweek installment of Spring Trends.
Right.
Ensure to have for yourself a good and productive day, and leaving you with that advice from Femi. Read the room. Femi, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Have for yourself a good time. Bye.